All right, cheers. Welcome to the Dark Orchestra. I have my bang. What flavor do we have here? It is the peach mango, so cheers. I also have a hot black coffee. Hot black, right off the pot with my Star Wars cup. A little bit of a Star Wars scene here too on the YouTube video. Getting me in the mood and ready to rock on the podcast. So welcome back, Skeletons of the Dark. Jump on the live stream here on YouTube. And thank you for joining me. Let's just get right into it. It's been a long journey, baby. We just hit 21 years in the sport. And I'm really excited to talk to you. With this podcast, I try to cut through all the bullshit. And I try to be as authentic as I can. And, you know, I kind of look at this podcast as it replaces the blog. Something that is so dear to my heart. It's kind of like my therapy. And I've never been more real in my whole life than when I write. And with the podcast, I attempt to do the same thing. I just want to be 100% real with you guys. There's so much fake stuff out there. There's so much misguided information. There's so much clickbait. There's so much fluff. You know, at the end of the day, so much of what is out there is to persuade you to buy a product, to buy coaching. There's always kind of a catch, if you will. Not all the time, but most of the time. And especially in the world of weightlifting. There's a lot of self-pride, ego. How can I sound really smart? How can I come up with something new and brilliant and, you know. And I just don't want to be that. I don't want to self-promote. I don't want to advertise. I don't want to plug. I will not plug. You know, I'm not here to try to make myself look good. And I mean, 21 years in the game, I've just been yelling on a mountaintop for so long. You know, making videos, podcasts, you know, writing articles, blogs. And, you know, I'm kind of in a sense just done with it, you know. And the comeback with the podcast here, I just want to be just, I don't know, just kind of come with it with more grit. Help guide you. I want to help guide you. I want to talk to you. I want to be intimate with you and help you through your weightlifting journey. Good things, bad things, what to do's, what not to do's. And I just want to give you guys this good advice. That's it. This is for you. This is not for me. This is not a John North podcast. This is not a self-promotion for my team. This podcast is for you who's listening. And so let's just get right into it. Simplifying a sport. I have one big point I'm going to make in 3 different phases. So please hear me out. I will say, I will be the guy that says subscribe to the channel. I guess that's the one thing I will say, just because when I pop up a show, I want you guys to get it. You know, like it, share it. So we can help others. Simplifying sport. Now you have to remember, when you listen to my podcast, you're just getting naked me. You're getting raw me. And I understand I'm crazy. I'm out there. I'm weird. You know, I've always been a little different. And so you gotta know that. But my brain works in just weird ways. And it's been a life journey to try to kind of figure out myself and what works and what doesn't. And almost in a sense find like a middle ground. That's why me and my wife, we're just such a great team. And please ask any questions. I have the YouTube open. Jump on here. And hopefully I'm coming in okay. She just balances me out. We're exact opposite. But I just feel like there's always just a monster within me just wanting to be just let out constantly. It's almost, in a sense, hard to live like this because I'm so extreme. Everything I do, I can't go bowling and enjoy my time. The minute I start bowling with my family, literally just having some fun, I'm sitting there YouTube, how to go pro in bowling, how to be the best bowler in the world, who's the top 5 best bowler, where are the tournaments, where are the local teams, how do you get involved in team tournament bowling? A part of that lifestyle is very fun and exciting and leads to great adventures, but also it can drive you crazy. And that's just kind of my life. But as I approach 40 and I have 3 kids and, I have calmed down over the years and I'm almost kind of getting to know myself more and more and more as time goes on. And, it's, in a sense, it's almost like the less I get, when I say I'm getting to know myself, it's almost like I'm trying not to get to know myself and I'm just focusing on others, which in return, I get to kind of know myself even more. Kind of reverse psychology, if you will. But let's just get to it. Now I'm rambling. Simplifying sport. So when I first walked into a weightlifting gym, I saw the picture of Jeff Whitmer. And you guys know the story, so I'm not going to tell the whole story and bore you. But he was, the top 94, number 1 weightlifter in the country, making all the teams, kicking ass, breaking records. And, he was the GOAT. He was on top. He held the UFC belt. And he had this really cool poster in the gym and him lifting. And, he was that year's national champion. And I just never forget. I looked at that poster and I said, I want to be national champion. So I figured out what he was lifting, and he was lifting big ass weight. And I said, that's the weight I have to lift. I have to lift more than 160, 190. 160 plus, 190 plus at 94 to win nationals. Okay. So I got to beat him and I got to lift this amount of weight. And then I remember just looking at the bar that same session. And I thought to myself, all I have to do is just load up this bar to 160, 190 and then throw it over my head. That's it. And truly, for you listening, it is truly that simple. My goal with this podcast is I want you to think like this. I want you to think like this. Push everything out of your head. All the bull crap. What is your goal in the sport? Simplify it. Now go do it. 160, 190. It's like I always say, all I got to do is ride a bull for 8 seconds. I tell Tim Walker this all the time. I just got to stay on for 8 seconds, make it look pretty good, do it consistently, travel around the country, and I can make millions of dollars, get sponsored, be a pro bull rider, carve out a whole life for myself. 8 seconds, that's it. All I got to do is lift this weight. That's it. Right? In a marathon, 26 miles. All I got to do is start here, run 26 miles, and finish here. And I just got to run fast. I just have to run fast for 26 miles. That's it. And I can go to the Olympics and travel the world and represent our country and be champion and make tons of money and get sponsored and carve out this whole life for me. Just run fast for 26 minutes. And I could go on and on. Boxing. Are you telling me I just got to punch this guy in the face better and harder than he's going to punch me? I just got to throw my fists at this guy's face and body? That's it? And if I do it better than him, I carve a whole life out for myself? I mean, I could go on and on and on. It's that simple. Now, I was telling my wife this in the car coming home from church yesterday, and you know how she knows I think like this. You know, that's why, like, right now I'm not doing a marathon to do a marathon. I'm doing a marathon to go as far as I can go. You know, why can't is the question. You know, like, to be honest with you, I'm having trouble with people telling me to stay in zone 2. I won't lie. You know, the zone 2 talk is driving me crazy, but your heart is in the right place. I get it. You're trying to help me. I know nothing about running. For those who don't know, I'm doing a marathon April 24th in Eugene, Oregon. My goal is sub 350. So I know nothing, Jon Snow. I get it. I'm not trying to be prideful and be a know-it-all. But it's tough for me because I just want to max out effort every single day in running. Coach gives me the run, and I just want to max effort it. That's it, the Penley method. And trying to run slow, you know, stay in zone 2, all this talk, it in some odd way, it just starts to upset me. Even though I understand that I need to do it. And I've made a few videos on social media lately talking about, hey, I just need to listen to Coach. You know, Coach called me or texted me, said, hey, stick to the program, trust the process. All the things that I yell on the mic. You know, all the things that I've been saying and do say, he says, right? It doesn't matter the sport. It's all the same. And I say, okay, yes, Coach. And then I go do it. Now, program's the minimum. I get it. You know, this weekend, a long run, a 10-mile long run. If I'm feeling hot, I'm going to go 11. Okay? And I'll ask for forgiveness later. You know, if I feel hot, I'll go for 12. Okay? But day in and day out, stick to the program. But the point is that, you know, at almost 40 years old, why can't I? Okay, 2:21 is you qualify for the Olympic trials in a marathon. Why can't I? Why can't I? It's that simple. Why can't you lift what you want to lift? You know, Josiah the other day, one of my athletes said, in 1 year, I want to snatch 120 kilos. All right. Right now, his best snatch is 90. Okay. So at this point, 364 days, because he said this yesterday or 2 days ago. So 363 days, Josiah says, I'm going to snatch 120 kilos. And he's a master's lifter with a family and a full-time career, and he trains at night when he can get it in. Okay, so that 90 to 120 spread is not as easy as you'd think. If a 19-year-old said that, you know, that's a freak athlete with nothing to do but to train all day, you'd be like, oh yeah, of course. But in his situation, that's a huge goal. Simplify it. There it is. Now, Jess looked at me in the car and she said, okay, I get it. I love the way your mind thinks, babe. But how are you going to do it? That's really hard. It's hard. And she had such a good point. And my response to my wife was, well, absolutely. Because it's crazy complicated. See, the most simple things are the most complicated. It's like the Bulgarian method. Snatch, clean, and jerk squat every single day. It's the most simple program you can do, but it's the hardest program you can do. Not just physically, but mentally. You start to become Jack Nicholson in The Shining. You start to lose your mind when you're doing the same thing every single day over and over and over. But I believe in that method. It's practicing the sport of weightlifting is what you're going for. You're practicing the sport of weightlifting. You look at the Attitude Nation program or the Penley program, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. There's a lot of, it's Oz, with the curtain and the shifters, and there's a lot going on there. But if you take all of that away, what are you doing every single day as my athlete? Every single day, what are you doing? Well, you're snatching, you're clean and jerking, and you're squatting 6 days a week in some sense, right? If that's a complex, if that's a hang, if that's a no hook, no feet, if that's block work, whatever it is, you're always doing a snatch, clean and jerk, or squat every single day. Now, if you're on my team, you're listening, you're going, oh my gosh, you're right. We are the Bulgarian method. We are practicing the sport of weightlifting. Didn't even really think about it. And I don't blame anybody that would say that because, you know, the whole point is for you to not lose your mind. Yes, complexes and hangs and blocks and no-nos and pull, you know, all of these things have their purpose. But the number one purpose for all of these exercises is for you not to lose your mind. It's for you not to quit. That's it. If it was up to me, we'd do snatch, clean, and jerk, squat every single day, and that's all we do. But like John Bro says, nobody would do it. You would have no weightlifters. So you have to ask yourself, what's more important? Keeping people mentally healthy, in a sense, and having them train and compete? Or burning them out mentally and then having them just quit and then you're left with nothing? See, it's all bullshit. It's all fluff. The only thing that matters in the sport of weightlifting is conducting both lifts and squatting every single day. How often can you do it consistently per week? Can you train more than that per day? Can you do an extra workout? Can you do presses and pulls on top of that? Can you do some bodybuilding work on top of that? Absolutely. Can you do extra snatch and clean and jerks later on in that day? Absolutely. But the goal in weightlifting is to do snatch, clean and jerk, squat, period. And that's what you must do. You know, so you simplify it by saying, okay, here's what I need to hit. All I got to do is load up the bar. Let's go. It's that simple. Stop overcomplicating any sport like weightlifting. There's nothing new. It's just hard training and consistency. I can name a million names right now that have, walked off into the dust, and I have named them in the past, but I won't. And there's so many more I could name. But what they do, these talented young men, for the most part, is they overcomplicate the sport. They really overcomplicate life. And they look for the secret. They bounce teams. They're trying to find the golden nugget. They're trying to find the Titanic diamond necklace as they scour the ocean sea. And they spend so much more time trying to get out of work than doing work that they end up with no medals around their neck, and then they just fall to the wasteland. We see it all the time. And that's heartbreaking for me. Because if these athletes would just trust the process and just focus solely on just hard training, they'd be champions by now. But not just by now. I mean, multiple time champion. Team USA. It's like my grandpa used to say, you work harder at getting out of work than the actual work itself. That is the definition of so many weightlifters. You work harder at getting out of work than you do just the work itself. See, it's all about progress. Progress takes time, yes, but you have to build your engine and you have to build your foundation. The athlete who wants it now is never going to see the final result. It's the athlete that understands, okay, to be a doctor, it's going to take 10 years of school, 10 years of college, or more, really. To get your master's degree is going to take you 6-7 years. I guess online now you could do it a little quicker, but you get my point. You're taking a big chunk of time to get a degree. You have to look at the same, weightlifting is the same. Okay, if I want my bachelor's, great. right? That's winning AO finals. If I want my master's degree, that's going to take 6, 7, maybe even for some, right, that aren't as talented mentally and physically. Just, I say physically, I don't know why physically, but just getting up out of bed and going to school. But mentally, that might take up to 8 years to get your master's degree. Now you want your PhD, that's nationals. That's winning nationals. You want your PhD, you want to represent your country internationally. Now you're a doctor. It takes time. You have to simplify that time. You have to simplify that time, and you have to only focus on just how hard can I train per day. See, this is all we used to do back in the day. Is we just come in, we listen to coach, and we just train as hard as we can. Who's going to train the hardest? That was always the question. Me and Donnie were always in survival mode. How can we survive this day? There was no other thought process. Now, I want you to hear me for a second. There's no bullshit on this podcast. There is no other thought process. This is where, who knows, maybe even this podcast can throw you off, is there's too much information out there for weightlifters. There's too many options these days for weightlifters. There's a million different podcasts you can listen to. There's a million different Instagram videos to watch. There's a million different online teams to join, right? There's a million different in-person teams to join. You know, you start doing good online and you start balling out, then the local coaches see you and then they try to recruit you, and half the time they do because they get you on the whole pitch of, oh, I'm in person. Is that always better? Sometimes not. There's just so many options in the sport of weightlifting these days that what it does is it just tears apart most good weightlifters that have a real shot of being champion. It tears them apart, man. I've seen it so many times. See, back in the day, we had no option. And if we did have an option, we never even looked at it. We said, here it is. Let's just give it all we have. Let's just fucking go all in. Let's train as hard as we can, as often as we can. Let's eat as hard as we can. Let's sleep as hard. Because giving it 100% effort in training, truly, right? Simplifying training. All I got to do is go 60-90. Now, of course, I achieved that and much more, but I never got to beat Jeff Whitmer because he retired by then, of course. But I thank Jeff Whitmer all the time. I have in the past. He's a great friend of mine. He's the GOAT. He's the best, because he inspired me to say, I want to be like Jeff. So just that simple goal in mind got me much further than that goal by just simplifying hard work. Bull riding, running. This is why I have trouble with the zone 2 talk. If I have 6 miles, I'm going to go as hard as I can for those 6 miles, those 10 miles, those 3 miles, those 4 miles, those 13 miles, whatever the workout is. Like at the end of the run, people say you should be able to still talk. Or during the run, you should be able to still hold a conversation. That's not who the fuck I am. So a part of me rebels and says, no, I'm going to go max effort. When I finish the run, I'm going to be like laying down, vomiting, because I'm going to get rhabdo every run I do. Then the other part of me is saying, listen to your coach, John. Quit being so prideful and egotistical. You know nothing about this sport. Who do you think you are? Shut up and listen to coach. These are the two sides of me, people. And maybe you have the same thing, but I battle with these two on my shoulder. Go, go, go. Get rhabdo. Freaking go crazy. Break the mold. You're not doing this just to finish a marathon. You're doing this to, turn heads. Go to Boston. Beat Nick Bear. Go sub 250. Don't be normal. Don't be even average. Don't be, be great. And the other half says, no, it's ridiculous. Just listen to your coach because he's the best. And I do. I always lean back towards my coach, Coach Rich and Coach Bill out of Texas, Houston there. And we get rocking. But I want to express myself because maybe you feel the same. But there's nothing wrong with feeling that way. You just have to learn how to somehow control it, and use it as fuel. And that's what's good about the Penley philosophy. And I think Coach Rich knows that. I think Coach Rich knows that if I hit 10 miles on Saturday and if I'm feeling good, I'm going to go 11, and he's not going to be mad at that. And that's the Penley method. The program's the minimum. But simplify training. And going back to my point, max effort. And you think, when I say max effort training, I mean when you're pushing really, when you're truly just focusing on how you can give it your all as far as effort to reach your simplified goal. Okay, hear me out on this. What that means is not just training, but off the platform. Are you eating? That takes a lot of effort, by the way. Most people fall short in their goals of weightlifting, and they don't reach their true potential because of the lack of eating. Because eating is uncomfortable and it's too hard. People that say they can't gain weight or they can't eat more than, they're weak. I'm just going to say it. You listening right there, I might be offending you. In this aspect, you are weak. And there's nothing wrong with that. What are you doing? You're telling me that you're 100% strong in all aspects of your life, including sport? No, just admit it with me. I could sit here for 3 days and tell you all my weaknesses. So when you're listening to me talk to you, don't be so prideful. Lay your sword down for a second. And understand that you are weak in this aspect of your training. Okay? If you had to eat 7,000 to 8,000 calories a day, you would, and you could. So what's stopping you? Well, what's stopping you is comfort. It's the same reason why most athletes don't train as hard as they can, because of comfort. They don't want to feel bad. They don't want to be uncomfortable. They don't want to push themselves because it makes them feel a certain way. They're tired the next day. So they listen to the people that say take a rest day, or listen to your body people. See, it's interesting to me as I was in the sport of weightlifting, most of my time in weightlifting, it seems to me, looking back, that most people were trying to calm me down, that they were trying to have me train less hard. Don't train that hard. You guys are doing it wrong. You guys are the outcasts. Don't slam the bar. Don't yell. You're too crazy. Calm down. Calm down, calm down, calm down. It's like my own community was constantly trying to have me do less, when all I was trying to do was do more. And think about it, if I'm struggling with that, and I'm fighting the fight of mediocrity and people trying to just have me be normal. See, I don't want to be fucking normal. Do you understand? I don't want to be a normal These guys on YouTube I see, these guys on YouTube that do marathon vlogs, and they're eating their bagel and cream cheese, and they're making their coffee in the morning. I've watched them all, right? I've done, over the past 4 years, I go on these little marathon stints, and I always end up pulling out. So trust me, I don't have a lot of room to talk. At least I can be honest. But this time it's different. And if you're sitting there going, okay, we'll see, John. You have every right to say that. But then they're showing all their shoes and their socks and their swag and what they're wearing, and they go out and they got music behind it. And it's like, great, but where's your pudding? What's the pudding here? Like, you look great video. But okay, and let's say they have a good marathon time. Let's just say, okay, let's say they have, I would say your average high-level YouTuber marathon guy that's making videos all the time, that's internet famous, looks good, is probably like what? 270? Maybe 260? Possibly 250? That's when you're getting, you start going 240, you're like elite. But I would say 250 plus. 250 to 3. Okay. So I'm watching these people, and I have this one question. And maybe this is the wrong way of thinking, but this is just my crazy mind. Why the fuck aren't you running 220? I don't understand. Why can't you do more? Now, your best response to me would be like, well, they're trying to do more, John. Shut up. That's like the obvious response. Let me drink my coffee real quick. Yeah, that's the whole point, John. Is they're trying to do more. Okay. All right, fair. But boy, there's a big average. Why is there such a fall off between a very, very, very elite group that's doing 220, sub 220, even sub 230, and then a bunch of YouTubers doing 260? Why is there such a huge gap, and why are they all falling into the same kind of time area? That's my question. My answer, my response to the person that says, well, geez, John, they're trying. You know, who are you that's pulled out of 4 marathons and never even done a half a marathon? Who are you to say this? Well, I'm meaning more of all sports, period. I'm making a point here. And my response would be because they're not training hard enough. They're not pushing in hard enough. Quit your job. Run longer. Run harder. Recover better. Do more than what you're doing. And see, I see these people, they cycle through, they do the marathon. I just go, okay, back to my cycle. And they do the same thing. I got this. I'm going to break that time. I fell a little short. My goal is still the 248. I got it. And they do their runs and they do their zone 2s and they do all the stuff. My whole point is, why not just throw it in the garbage and just go as hard as you can every single day until you can barely crawl into bed? If you really want it, why don't you just drop out of your job? Now, if you have kids, it's a different story. But a lot of these cats are young. Why can't you just push the chips more into the middle of the table? It's just simple. It's just freaking simple. And if you're sitting here saying, well, okay, well then, who are you to say this, John? Well, I lived it. And I know I'm probably talking more of the young cat with no family right now, but for the young cats listening, you need to simplify training. If you really want to be champion, if you truly want to be champion, you can. You can. You just have to go do it. You have to simplify your life in order to train as hard as you can, as often as you can. You have to get out of your comfort zone with food and eat as hard as you can. 7,000 plus calories a day, no matter what weight class. Because guess what? For how hard you're going to be training, you're going to be probably close to a deficit on how many calories you're burning. It's funny, I just posted on our program on Attitude Nation the video of the Ironman athlete eating 7,000 to 8,000 calories per day. The guy's got 3% body fat. He weighs 100 pounds, and he's the GOAT of marathon running. And he eats 8K a day. Are you telling me, Mr. Badass Weightlifter, that the Ironman guy can do it, but you can't? Yes, you can do it. So what you need to do is stop listening to so many people in your life and on your phone. And you need to simplify weightlifting. So what does that mean? Simplify it by training as much as you can. Sticking to the lifts. Eating way harder than you're eating now. Maximize your sleep. Do not go out. Do not drink alcohol. Train 6 days a week, maybe 7. Find people in your life that are as crazy as you. And then dedicate the next 7 years to training. If you do all of these things I just told you to do, I can almost guarantee you, without talking genetics, because that's a whole different podcast as well, where no one likes to talk about genetics, you will become national champion. and beyond. Now, why can't I ride the bull for 8 seconds? Is it because I'm scared? Probably. If I walked up to a bull right now without any technique, without any riding sheep as a little boy, without any knowledge of bull riding, and I walked up to the bull, why would I not ride it? And I'm asking myself this live on air. It's not physical. I mean, I'll just be honest. I'm a freak athlete. Physically, I'm not scared of any man. I'm not scared of any sport. I'm not scared of any activity. God has given me a gift, and I will use it in any sport I do. But why would I not jump on the bull and try to ride it for 8 seconds? I think you could agree with me. You're probably saying it right now. Fear. Physically, yeah, I probably would get bucked off in the first second or two. Yeah. I would definitely wear a helmet so I don't crack my head open. I'd probably definitely get hurt and my hand would get stuck and I'd be trampled on. And yeah, I'd probably end up in the hospital. But whatever, physically I would try. I'm not scared of anything physically. I think I would always be the best UFC fighter. I'm scared of zero. I'm scared of no man. And I would just be the type that would just start swinging with no technique. Would it work? Probably not. Would I do it? Yes. But why would I not get on the bull? Why would fear stop me? Well, it would. It would. I'm telling you right now. It would stop me right now. Anybody that says it wouldn't, I don't know if I'd trust you as a man. I would not get on that bull right now because I'd be too scared. Now, this is interesting. So now that I'm admitting that, and I think that hopefully you could admit it with me, how do we conquer that fear? Well, we conquer it by practice. I look at the cowboy next to me and say, okay, you're right. You got me. I'm too scared to get on this thing. But we're the sheep. No, I'm probably too big for the sheep, but we're the small bulls. We're the donkeys. I'm ready to start training. Where's my 20 kilo bar? Where's my 15 kilo bar? And then I work up from there. But I'm going to ride. And that's all I'm going to freaking do until I'm ready to jump on that bull and start really rocking. Don't get discouraged, weightlifter. Don't get discouraged. You're doing a great job. Just keep it up. It's a hard sport, weightlifting, and it takes time. My advice for you is constantly look at the glass half full and things you're doing good, things you have achieved. See, I never had the best resume in weightlifting compared to some of my other former teammates and athletes in my day. So how was I traveling the world and selling out seminars and, making, up to, millions of dollars over the span of a few years? How is that possible? More social media followers than a lot of guys with, way better resumes than me. That's just true. It's just honest. I mean, if I'm comparing myself to guys like Donnie Schenkel and Kendrick Ferris and Matt Bruce and even Jeff Whitmer, I still fall short on resume. Now, I'm not saying they did anything wrong, but I was always able to focus on what I was doing right. I was always able to focus on my success because I knew where I came from. You could call it a low bar, but I would always just think about myself in the crack house. Every meet I went to, every training I did, every practice, every local comp, national comp, international comp, it didn't matter. I would just think of myself in the back room as I'm warming up, or when I'm warming up on the bar and training, I would just visualize myself in that meth house. Just skinny, pale white boy, just white as a ghost, weighing $120, up for 3-4 nights straight, just hitting the circle or hitting the pipe, watching that round circular pipe move side to side as the smoke swirled up the little hole in the bowl. The thick, chalky cloud of smoke coming out of my mouth as if it was a cloud from the sky. It's not like weed or cigarettes. It's a whole different thing. And then just sitting there in a crack house. You know, multiple cop raids, multiple runs from the cops, multiple handcuffs. Multiple mules, multiple guns pulled, multiple fights, multiple bloodbaths, saw deaths, saw people shot right in front of me. I had guns pulled on me, axes thrown at me, seen gang wars right in front of me. I can go on. I'm just scratching the surface. I've never, I've opened up about my past, but I don't really go into too many of the stories because there's no need. No one needs to hear these. But, I lived in a different world. As we sit here and look at this YouTube video I have, this picture from the podcast, it's like, this is like a different world right here. This sandy, looks like something out of Star Wars. It's beautiful, though. And I lived this different world for so long that now in the sport of weightlifting as an athlete back in the day, I would just, almost compare myself to the old me. And what it did was, it wasn't the bar set low, because that's easy. Shoot, if I just got a job at McDonald's and didn't do drugs, I'd be winning. But it was one of those things where I go, if that's where I came from, then anything that I do in the sport of weightlifting is a success. It's a victory. I'm sober. I'm lifting. I'm healthy. I'm around people who love me. I'm around a good atmosphere. I have a great team. And so I would just constantly compare myself. So even if I went 2 for 6 at a meet and I took a silver medal, man, I'd make the greatest post. I'd say, wow, I want to thank my coach. What a great time. Crush these 2 lifts. Could have done more, but, I'm so blessed to be here. Like, all my posts were just positive because I just only saw the good in everything that me and my coach did. And that snowballed with teammates around me. I think teammates fed off me. Donnie did. Kevin Cornell did. So many athletes did, and I did to them too. It's because I was just positive. And you don't see that a lot in weightlifting. You see the elite lifters. Gosh, how many posts do you see? I mean, we're talking after the biggest meets of their life, and they did good. Well, the first line of their post, right? Well, ... Could have done better. Little disappointed. Life throws you curveballs, and sorry if I let you down. But I did 5th at the Olympics and went 4 for 6 with a PR. And then they start ranking. What? Well, got on the first national podium, but, I wanted that gold. I guess time will. A part of me looks at these posts that when they actually do pretty good or good, or even not good, but they still totaled and they still had a good experience and it's a part of the melting pot of their life. And then they have these negative, poor me, play the violin posts. I just sit there and I think that's exactly what's wrong with this sport. You don't see the good that's swirling around you. Oh, it's because, John, you don't get it. It's because we want more. We're not satisfied. More of what? The golden calf of weightlifting? More of what? What do you want more of? The more is your coach. The more is your team. The more is the experience. The more is living life and being grateful, seeing the good in everything, seeing the positivity in what you're doing with your life, seeing how far you've come. You're so fixated on the gold medals and going 6 for 6 and having these perfect days that you're missing out on what is right in front of you. You're not seeing the good that has come from even this 2 for 6 meet. And so then you're going to portray that you're going to just roll that out to everybody listening, all your followers. So what do? They go to a meet and they do a similar pose. Well, not my day. You know these people, right? Every single pose, not my day. Hey, we conducted a big Friday at our gym. Not the day I was looking for. Holy smoking biscuits, man. How about you say, what a blessed Friday. Gym was popping. Here's what I hit. Here's the medal I got. Or here's the lifts I hit. Here's what the percentage is. It seemed like it was yesterday. These were my all-time PRs. Now I'm hitting them for, minimums. See, Donnie always said, get the minimums up. Get consistent in the minimums and the PRs will pop. And it takes time. Those walls will fall, but it takes time. You have to have so many days of training that are just minimum, just average. You're just putting in the work, and then they'll come. But so many athletes don't want to build those walls with the brick. They don't want to lay brick. They don't want to lay brick, guys. They don't want to eat hard. That's too uncomfortable. That's the whole point. And so then all of a sudden you're surrounded by people that just have negative attitudes. And then what happens when people get frustrated? They don't like what you're doing. So they tell you to train less. They tell you that you're doing it wrong, or that's a stupid program. Oh, you're lifting too much. You're doing too much snatch, clean, and jerk. I can't believe you squat 6 days a week. And so then they start critiquing you because they're not satisfied nor happy with their situation. And again, this is how cancer starts. So I guess my overall point as I wrap it up here, surround yourself with positive people. Stick to the lifts and train every single day as hard as you can. Simplify your training with your goals. This is what I want to hit. This is what I want to accomplish, so go do it. And then anything in front of you that stands in the way, run it over. Eat harder, sleep harder, be positive, see the good side in all aspects of training. Trust your coach. That's what I'm doing right now. Do I struggle with wanting to just go crazy? Is the monster in me trying to push back? Yes. But I'm ride or die, baby. I'm loyal. I'll listen, I'll do, and I'll repeat. And it's that simple. Be careful with what you're listening to out there. Get hyped, get crazy, be yourself, see positivity, Take your time. And just ride the bull for 8 seconds, man. Once you get enough balls to just jump on that bull, just ride it, baby. Just try to ride it for 8 seconds. That's all you have to do. This life is actually very simple. These goals are very simple. You know, lift heavy weight above your head. It's a simple concept. Now go train and do it. Now, is it hard? Are the most simple things, like I said, the hardest? Absolutely. Oh my gosh. You know how hard it was for me to go 160, 190 at a meet to win nationals? You know how hard that was? Do you know the journey that it took me to get there? Now, I simplified it. I said, I'm going to do it. Let's go. But the blood, sweat, and tears that took me to get there, that took me to get to the games in 11, to Guadalajara, to Guatemala, all these different places, was just brutal, man. It was absolutely brutal. But so many athletes don't want to go through it, but they want it. The hardest part for me as a coach is knowing that an athlete is young and talented, that has it, that even has the lifestyle for it. But then I lose them. I lose them to the Dust Bowl in the desert. I lose them to the options, the green grass. I lose them to all of the persuading by people in their corner. You know? That's why I've talked to so many people. There's so many people in my field. I don't want to name names, but even I don't want to name names, but all the cats that who I trained with back in the day. I'll even say, even Donnie, I'll even say that was the big one. I didn't want to say his name. Why is he not out there coaching? Because these guys from my class, if you will, man, they can't. They're so sick. They're so sick and tired of these athletes. They can't deal with the weakness. They can't deal with it. They can't deal with it. It's the hardest thing in the world to have lived it. Here's the hard part. You ready? It's to have lived it. It's to have done it. To have felt it. Experienced it. And then you have just so much desire to have someone else do it. Do you know that feeling? Where you just like, I'm going to give you everything I have. And then because there's a million different options out there and the grass is green and people are talking smack and blah, 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 and everyone knows best, you lose them. And you go, oh, man. Oh, only if. Right? Then you find another freak young athlete. Oh, here it is. You listen. I had one person come up to me and they say, well, you're probably just, it's too hard. It's too hard. And I said, well, I only know one mode, and that's what I did. That's the only mode I know. If you're looking for a different mode, then go somewhere else. But I know one mode. And that's what I know, what I've done, what I was taught. That's it. There's no other mode. Working around the athletes and customizing. But no, there's one mode. I'm a one mode cat. Right? If you want a different mode, go somewhere else. I got one mode, and that's hard. So that's it. We got a good day today. It's Thursday. Good program today, and then we got Big Friday tomorrow. We got Vegas coming up, a lot of meets. Oh, that's it. That's all I got to say. I should just end the podcast. But for some reason, I just want to stay on and keep talking. I don't know why. I mean, I do got to get to coaching here, but what is it, 9/11? I don't know. I just think everyone is trying to keep up with everybody on the internet. Everybody is trying to just say the coolest thing, the most hip thing, the most mind-blowing thing. And the more that it gets out there, the more I realize that just less is more. It's like I'm just going to do a podcast and just talk about simplifying life, eating hard, training hard, and changing someone's mind and how they view their goal and how to simplify it. Conquering fear. Just keep it simple. Stick to the lifts. Trust the process. And who knows, maybe my advice helps, and maybe, my advice is something that people needed to hear in a world of just chaotic information, just everywhere you look, just info. And, the other thing, last thing here is, this is what weightlifting does too, that I've noticed. Okay, last point here. This is a good one. Is creating excitement. Again, you got to be careful with this. There's an interesting blend of having fun and tapping in with your team, and we have a great time on Zoom, and you see our team at meets, and we're all smiles, and we're getting after it. We're a squad, but there's also this blend that I want you to be miserable. I want you to be uncomfortable. I want you to be beat down. Like, that is my goal. That shows me that you're working hard. Me and Donnie back in the day, like we have some fun, but we'd almost kind of just be like crazy, like we were losing our mind. And most days we were just trying to survive the day. And so just remember that. It's okay to be broke down. It's okay to be miserable. It's okay to be uncomfortable. This is a good aspect of training. Just stick with the process and let's keep rocking. All right? Well, that's it. First show back. Hang on for 8 seconds. Andrew, good morning. Thanks for jumping on. Is this John from the North? This is John from the North. The North Wall of Game of Thrones. And appreciate you guys listening. I'm going to jump on the team page and get on the Zoom here, and I hope you guys have a great Thursday. I'm going to be doing 2, 3, maybe 4 podcasts a week, just talking about life and weightlifting, and hopefully I can give you guys some good advice. And we'll do some more screen sharing videos with some videos we'll break down on technique and just philosophy and all that. I just kind of wanted to spark up the podcast and talk about just kind of simplifying sport. That's it. Even in life, simplify it. Okay? Bowl 8 seconds. Run a marathon fast. Lift heavy weight over your head. That's it. Okay? Have that approach. Everything else will kind of fall in place. All right? Attitude Nation salute. Thanks for listening. God bless. Have a great day.